When Captain Richard Sterling became the Navy's most decorated submarine commander, sailors trusted him to lead classified missions beneath the ocean. But when his alcohol addiction and weapons smuggling schemes consumed him, he began selling naval secrets to foreign enemies and murdering crew members who discovered his crimes, turning submarines into underwater criminal operations. Before starting the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Now, let's get back to the video. The Virginia morning fog rolled across Norfolk Naval Base as Captain Richard Sterling organized classified submarine documents and foreign intelligence payment records for what would become the most dangerous naval operation of his 29-year career. As the Atlantic Fleet's most experienced submarine commander and underwater warfare specialist. At 60 years old, Richard had established himself as the Navy's premier submarine captain, controlling nuclear submarine operations and classified naval missions that attracted foreign intelligence services, weapons dealers, and enemy governments who valued his submarine authority and his reputation for coordinating the most secretive underwater operations affecting naval security and submarine warfare throughout the maritime defense system. Richard's captain quarters occupied the command center of the USS Virginia Submarine Operations Facility, featuring classified navigation systems, nuclear weapons coordination centers, and underwater warfare planning rooms that allowed him to oversee the Navy's most sensitive submarine missions while maintaining absolute control over naval operations worth billions and classified technology affecting submarine warfare and nuclear security throughout the naval fleet operations. The interior of Richard's quarters reflected his mastery of submarine warfare and his understanding of Navy expectations for both operational excellence and absolute secrecy during the most critical underwater missions affecting national security, featuring walls displaying naval commendations from multiple administrations, photographs of classified submarine deployments, and testimonials from grateful naval personnel whose careers had advanced through his command expertise and strategic submarine coordination affecting naval warfare and maritime security. But beneath Richard's reputation for naval excellence lay a dangerous combination of chronic alcoholism, systematic weapons smuggling, and calculated murder that had transformed his submarine operations into criminal enterprises, where threatening crew members and suspicious investigators met their fate through naval accidents and witness elimination during vulnerable underwater missions and weapons procedures. "Good morning, Captain Sterling," said Executive Officer James Rodriguez, arriving for his weekly operations briefing about ongoing submarine missions and federal coordination that required Richard's authorization for nuclear weapons procedures and classified operations affecting naval security standards. James had recently discovered irregular weapons inventory procedures and had begun questioning Richard's explanations about security protocols that seemed to bypass normal Navy oversight processes and federal nuclear security requirements. "Good morning, Executive Officer Rodriguez," Richard replied with the naval authority and submarine expertise that had made him legendary among Atlantic Fleet personnel who viewed him as both underwater warfare specialist and nuclear security coordinator, capable of managing complex submarine missions through sophisticated naval techniques and strategic operations coordination affecting maritime security and submarine warfare throughout the Navy fleet. James had become Richard's most dangerous subordinate, not because of his demanding operational requirements or his federal coordination responsibilities, but because of his recent discovery of unauthorized weapons transfers and his growing awareness of the smuggling operation that Richard had been conducting while supposedly providing legitimate submarine command for naval operations and nuclear security programs. What James didn't know was that Richard had been systematically selling naval weapons and murdering submarine crew for over 3 years, using his captain authority and access to nuclear submarine technology to coordinate foreign intelligence operations while eliminating anyone who discovered his weapons trafficking or threatened to expose his criminal exploitation of naval resources for enemy coordination and technology smuggling affecting national security and submarine warfare. Richard's transformation from respected captain to calculating killer had begun 5 years earlier, when his chronic alcoholism had escalated from social drinking during naval ceremonies to daily dependency that consumed his substantial captain's salary and forced him into relationships with foreign intelligence services who offered enormous payments for classified submarine technology and nuclear weapons information affecting naval security and underwater warfare capabilities. His addiction cost over $10,000 per day, while his access to Navy nuclear submarine systems provided unprecedented opportunities for coordinating weapon smuggling operations that generated millions through stolen naval technology and classified information, affecting foreign military capabilities and national security throughout global maritime operations. His criminal activities escalated when several submarine crew members and naval oversight personnel discovered evidence of unauthorized weapons access and threatened to report their suspicions to Navy command and federal law enforcement agencies investigating espionage targeting submarine technology and nuclear weapon security throughout naval submarine operations. Richard murdered his first victim, a suspicious weapons officer who detected irregular nuclear inventory records, by orchestrating a pressure chamber accident using foreign intelligence assets that appeared to be submarine operational incident rather than premeditated assassination designed to protect weapons smuggling operations. The success of his first murder convinced Richard that eliminating threatening submarine personnel and suspicious oversight investigators was both necessary for protecting his smuggling operation and achievable given his complete captain authority and his ability to coordinate with foreign intelligence networks who could stage submarine accidents and eliminate witnesses while providing plausible cover stories involving underwater hazards and naval operational dangers. Over the following 3 years, Richard murdered 11 additional individuals using various foreign intelligence methods and naval coordination that took advantage of his captain authority, his access to enemy networks during vulnerable submarine operations, and his ability to stage deaths as naval accidents or underwater incidents that occurred during routine submarine activities with personnel who had access to sensitive information that could expose weapon smuggling operations. His victims had been carefully selected based on their discovery of his criminal activities, their potential cooperation with naval authorities, or their knowledge of submarine procedures that could expose his foreign intelligence coordination and systematic trafficking of naval weapons affecting Navy oversight and nuclear security compliance. His victims included Petty Officer Patricia Williams, a submarine weapons specialist who had discovered evidence of systematic technology theft and whose submarine consultation had resulted in fatal torpedo room explosion staged by foreign assets during routine weapons maintenance. Lieutenant David Foster, who had reported suspicious weapons activities and whose Norfolk base meeting had ended in fatal diving accident using equipment sabotaged through intelligence networks, and Agent Jennifer Martinez, a federal naval security investigator who had been tracking weapons crimes and whose submarine inspection had resulted in fatal exposure to concentrated drugs disguised as naval equipment contamination, affecting federal oversight of submarine operations. The weapons smuggling operation had become extraordinarily sophisticated, with Richard coordinating the systematic theft of classified submarine technology and nuclear weapons components through carefully planned foreign intelligence coordination and enemy network operations that provided access to Navy secrets and military technology affecting national security and submarine warfare capabilities. Classified submarine deployments served as primary smuggling operations, with Richard personally coordinating the transfer of naval weapons technology and nuclear components to foreign intelligence operatives who infiltrated legitimate naval cooperation programs and international maritime security coordination, affecting submarine operations and nuclear security throughout the Navy fleet. The most disturbing aspect of the operation was the systematic compromise of American submarine warfare capabilities and nuclear security, with Richard providing foreign intelligence services with detailed operational specifications and weapons technology that could neutralize Navy advantages and compromise submarine operations throughout maritime territories, affecting national defense and military security. Multiple American submarine operations had been compromised as a direct result of Richard's weapons smuggling activities, with classified missions being exposed and naval technology being stolen for enemy military development, affecting national security and submarine warfare effectiveness throughout naval operations. Captain Sterling, I need to discuss serious concerns about weapons smuggling and reports of naval espionage connected to your submarine operations, said FBI Special Agent Sarah Torres of the Bureau's Counterintelligence Division, arriving at Richard's quarters carrying federal warrants to inspect his weapons procedures and interview him about suspicious naval activities. Special Agent Torres specialized in investigating military crimes and had developed expertise in recognizing patterns of weapons trafficking and foreign intelligence coordination affecting submarine operations throughout naval facilities. Special Agent Torres's investigation represented an existential threat to Richard's criminal operation, as her federal counterintelligence expertise and access to espionage databases could expose the systematic smuggling operations and connect him to multiple suspicious deaths during submarine activities and naval meetings affecting federal oversight and military law enforcement cooperation. Special Agent Torres, I think there may be some misunderstanding about complex submarine operations and the unfortunate reality that naval personnel sometimes experience operational hazards despite advanced safety protocols and federal coordination measures, Richard said, while discreetly activating a concealed emergency beacon that would summon corrupt submarine crew who were part of his smuggling network for emergency elimination of federal law enforcement threats. Perhaps we could discuss these concerns in our weapons coordination facility, where I can demonstrate the submarine procedures that might explain these tragic naval incidents. Underwater operations involve dangerous weapon systems that might appear suspicious to those unfamiliar with foreign intelligence coordination and nuclear smuggling affecting submarine operations. Special Agent Torres agreed to examine Richard's submarine procedures, not realizing that the captain was leading her to a secure facility where previous murders had been committed and where Richard planned to coordinate her elimination using foreign intelligence assets, while staging the scene as federal agent targeting that occurred during naval investigation, providing cover for her elimination while appearing to be enemy retaliation rather than deliberate murder by a captain protecting his smuggling operations. But Richard's carefully planned murder of the federal agent was about to be prevented by the unexpected arrival of naval oversight officers who had been investigating submarine irregularities and had identified connections to his systematic smuggling activities affecting naval operations and nuclear security programs. Naval Intelligence Inspector Michael Santos had been conducting comprehensive investigation into submarine corruption and weapons smuggling that exploited captain authority to facilitate foreign intelligence coordination and eliminate potential witnesses to naval crimes affecting Navy oversight and federal military law enforcement cooperation. Inspector Santos specialized in investigating naval crimes and had developed expertise in tracking submarine operations that compromised national security while conducting systematic elimination of threats to smuggling operations affecting naval integrity and submarine operational security. The naval investigation had been initiated by reports from multiple Navy oversight agencies and national security organizations who noticed patterns of suspicious weapons transfers and submarine personnel deaths, suggesting foreign intelligence networks were infiltrating naval operations to facilitate technology smuggling while eliminating witnesses through sophisticated methods disguised as submarine accidents. "Captain Richard Sterling, I'm Inspector Santos with Naval Intelligence," he announced as he entered the weapons facility where Richard was coordinating Special Agent Torres's elimination. "I have Navy warrants for your investigation on charges of systematic weapons smuggling, naval espionage, technology theft, and multiple counts of first-degree murder related to your exploitation of submarine authority for criminal operations affecting national security and naval integrity." Richard's reaction to the naval oversight intervention was desperate attempts to maintain his command credibility, as he realized that federal agents and Navy investigators had been investigating his smuggling activities and connected them to systematic submarine personnel murders and foreign intelligence coordination affecting naval operations. Special Agent Torres looked stunned as she realized how close she had come to being murdered by the captain she was investigating for naval espionage. Her counterintelligence investigation had not only exposed Richard's smuggling and murder operation, but also prevented her own death at hands of a killer using submarine authority as cover for systematic elimination of federal agents and weapons crime investigation threats. The comprehensive investigation that followed Richard's arrest revealed the full scope of his criminal enterprise and sophisticated methods he had developed to exploit captain authority for systematic weapon smuggling and murder. Forensic analysis of Richard's submarine operations revealed extensive evidence of his smuggling activities, including sophisticated technology theft equipment for weapons coordination procedures, detailed records of foreign intelligence payments worth millions, and comprehensive files containing classified naval information that had been sold to enemy governments affecting Navy oversight and national security protection. The investigation uncovered Richard's connections to foreign intelligence services who had been coordinating naval infiltration and weapons smuggling operations while using his captain access to steal submarine technology and eliminate witnesses through sophisticated methods disguised as naval accidents and underwater operational hazards affecting submarine personnel and federal investigators. Most disturbing was discovery of Richard's detailed knowledge of submarine systems and foreign intelligence coordination procedures, which he had used to develop increasingly sophisticated approaches for trafficking weapons while eliminating submarine crew who discovered his smuggling operations or threatened to expose his enemy coordination activities affecting national security and naval warfare. Captain Richard Sterling was ultimately convicted of 12 counts of first-degree murder, systematic weapon smuggling, naval espionage, technology theft, conspiracy with foreign intelligence, and numerous other charges related to his exploitation of submarine authority for criminal operations affecting national security and naval integrity. The conviction sent unprecedented shockwaves throughout Atlantic Fleet, prompting immediate reforms in naval oversight, submarine monitoring, and captain addiction prevention, measures designed to protect national security from exploitation by corrupted naval officials involved in foreign intelligence activities. Several other submarine captains and naval officials were investigated for similar criminal activities, resulting in enhanced oversight of submarine operations and new requirements for weapons verification, nuclear security monitoring, and federal cooperation measures, making it difficult for foreign intelligence networks to exploit captain authority for systematic technology smuggling operations. Special Agent Torres and Inspector Santos received recognition for their collaborative investigation and became specialists in naval crime investigation, developing new techniques for identifying weapons, smuggling operations, and protecting national security from exploitation by corrupted submarine officials. Executive Officer James Rodriguez and other surviving submarine crew required extensive security clearance review and psychological counseling to overcome trauma of learning that their trusted captain had been systematically selling naval secrets and murdering crew members while exploiting his authority for foreign intelligence activities. The case prompted comprehensive changes in naval regulation, including mandatory federal oversight and addiction screening for submarine captains with weapons authority, enhanced monitoring of underwater operations and nuclear procedures, real-time security supervision of submarine missions, and new reporting procedures for suspicious naval activities involving national security violations. Richard's conviction led to increased cooperation between naval oversight agencies and federal organizations investigating foreign intelligence operations, with new protocols designed to identify submarine systems that might be exploited for systematic criminal activities while eliminating witnesses to naval corruption and national security violations. 5 years after Richard's conviction and life imprisonment, Atlantic Fleet continued implementing safeguards designed to protect national security from submarine captains who might abuse their positions for criminal purposes affecting naval operations and federal oversight. The captain, who had promised to protect American maritime interests and maintain naval security, had instead used his submarine authority to commit systematic weapons smuggling and murder while exploiting naval resources for foreign intelligence coordination, threatening foundations of national security and submarine warfare. Captain Richard Sterling's final voyage had been permanently terminated by comprehensive investigation of naval and federal justice, where he would serve multiple life sentences without possibility of parole, proving that even naval officials who attempted to exploit their submarine authority for criminal gain could be identified, investigated, and brought to justice when dedicated federal agencies worked together to protect national security from predatory naval corruption. The captain's final voyage had concluded with his permanent removal from naval service, serving as a lasting reminder that those entrusted with national defense must never abuse that sacred responsibility, and that submarine officials who would exploit military trust and naval authority for criminal gain will ultimately face full consequences of their betrayal of naval integrity and national security. Thank you very much for listening. Please let us know what you think of this story in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any other videos.